Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Frag Illuminati. I'm your host this week, Be Easy, and what we have is a special guest, the Middle East, the beast from the Middle East, Mondell Salmon, coming on to talk to us a little bit about the allure of the Middle Eastern houses. We'll be right back after our intro.
Trey is on the track.
Hey, let that ride.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Frag Illuminati. I'm your host this week, Be Easy. I'm your host this week, Be Easy, and we have a special guest coming in to sit down and talk shop with us for all y'all frag fanatics out there, Mondell Salmon. So let's go around the room and everyone introduce themselves so we can go ahead and get into this action-packed show that we have for you today.
What's up, everybody? It's G-Man, man. I'm excited about this session. We got none other than the illustrious Mondell Salmon, our man over on the other side of the pond is joining us today. He's going to give us some valuable information, some insights on Middle Eastern fragrances, as well as comparison to Western fragrances that many of us don't know. And so he's a wealth of information, and we look forward to having him on. Welcome, Mr. Mondell. What's up, guys?
He's not on yet. We ain't introduced him yet.
Well, hey, man, we're just waiting for you to add your part so we can introduce him.
Okay, what's up, everybody? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, brother.
Still got that echo, Eric.
How about now?
Yep.
Now.
Yep.
Still echoing.
Now.
Yep.
Dre's in the background. I guess he went out on us.
Yeah, I'm just waiting. Where Mondell on yet?
Good morning, Laquita.
Hey, Lenny, can you look at the chat? Because I'm on another camera, so I can't see it for any questions they may bring up.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I appreciate you, brother. Much appreciated. Can't hear you, E.
Any feedback?
Nope.
No,
we don't see Mondell.
Yeah. And Dre just said that his service kicked him
There
out.
we go. What's going on?
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
The Frag Illuminati, man. Oh, my goodness, man. It feels I'm so honored, man, to be among such royalty, man. You kings, man. You guys doing a fantastic job, man. The frag community need this, man, because I look around YouTube, man. They don't have nothing like this, man. Y'all doing us a great favor, man. I appreciate you, man. And thank you all from the bottom of my heart, man. And I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate you
Glad
taking time out.
We definitely appreciate this for you, my friend. We definitely
No doubt. All right, so let's get to it, Mr. Mondell. All right, let's get to it. What make the Middle Eastern fragrances stand out more so than the Western fragrances?
Oh, man, the Middle East fragrances, I don't think they really stand out more. It's just like it's two different markets when I look at it. In the Middle East, the dominant religion in the Middle East is Islam, and tied into Islam is perfume, smelling good. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be on him, always encourages followers to smell good. You know what I mean? And oud was one of his favorite fragrances. That's why in the Middle East, oud is dominant, and people just like to smell good. Everywhere you go around here, You know, it's going to be smelling good in your house, in the malls, and even in the mosque. They even have ouds, perfume sitting around in the mosque for people to wear. So everywhere you go, it's just part of the culture. You know, everybody are fragans around. You know, it's everybody is into fragrance. It's unlike in the US. If I live on the street, I may be the only one in fragrance. Now I step outside, everybody are fragans around here, and everybody's in tune to it. And in the Middle East, the fragrances are strong. You know, they're built to last because of the weather over here. You know, we enjoy 7 months of nothing but high heat around here. So the fragrances are made to stand up throughout the summer months, the harsh summer months. Right. So it's mostly oil based. And I notice the Western frags are more I would say alcohol based. You know, they're light for this weather, and that's why people go for the Middle Eastern fragrance over this side of it.
Now, you know, you went through a lot of houses and you introduced me to quite a few. Out of all of the houses from the Middle East, that's hailing from the Middle East, which one do you think have the most offerings from the ones that
Oh
you
man,
have the most offerings that's well rounded?
that's a tough
Put him
one.
on the spot, man. You put him on the spot.
Hey, put me on the spot. they're okay. So here, there are hundreds of houses over here in the Middle East. They're luxury houses. They're small, upcoming, independent houses, and the one that stand out. There are few that stand out. How about that? Can I give a few that stand out
Go
for me?
ahead,
Because,
go ahead,
Yeah.
spit, brother, spit.
well, Dar Al Tib is one house that stand out. Anything in the house you can get, man. They have outstanding fragrances. Czar perfume fragrances, man. Those guys over at Czar, they're doing a great job. When I went to the expo, which I'll talk about later, they had like 12 different fragrances that they came out with just for that expo, man. Arabian Oud, you know, it's a stalwart. They're available in the States. Arabian Oud, Abdul Samad Al Qarshid. Oh, man. And last but not least, man, FN by FN perfume makers
Yeah.
of blooming roses, man. They made some stand-up fragrances over here.
Now, this is me and you sitting with the brothers, and we in here, you know, chopping it up. What's your favorite fragrance out of the ones that you got in your collection?
There you go. There you go. You beat me to the question, man.
You know, I got over 600 fragrances, man.
Mhm.
I saw Eric the other day. You rank all these fragrances, man. I would have to pay somebody to do that for me because I would know where to begin to do that, man.
Man, that took 3 weekends where I didn't have. I mean, well, 2 weekends, and you know, part of it I did at work. So, but the other half, I just went and I just started smelling stuff, and I went off, and a lot of it was memory, and that's why the fellas give me a hard time because they say, "Well, you ranked this at this this score,
Mhm.
and then next week it's another score," because the initial score wasn't the actual score; it was the scent memory score. So the next time, look at Bernie. The next time when I wear it a full time is when it gets an actual score. And so I just at first the first score was to get everything on paper and based, and then from there you go from there. You know, like each time you wear it, it may last longer. You may feel like the next time you wear it, you understand it could go. I mean, it's good for a different type of occasion or a different season, and you can adjust the score that way. I'm gonna do a show on it. I'm gonna let y'all.
That's Mondell. That's the professor speaking.
Right.
Here we
So
go.
my favorite fragrance. There's a family of scents like oud, sandalwood, tobacco, leather, cedar. Those are the notes that I like. So any fragrance that have those, I tend to gravitate around those. You know, but if I should pick out something, you guys are familiar with Baron, Impala, Wow, Amiri, Blooming Rose. I like those fragrances, man. Those I hold those fragrances in high esteem.
Well, okay, brother. Okay, I'm glad. That seems like a lot that's in my top 10 currently. So I feel you on that. I feel you on that. You touched on something earlier, and I want to come back to it. A lot of people talk to me in private chat when you introduce a Middle Eastern scents. They have this. It's like Middle Eastern scents have this stigma where they think that it's too strong, this, that, and the third. What are some of the misconceptions that you found that people have about Middle Eastern fragrances?
Oh man, there's one major misconception, man, and it's a pet peeve of mine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go on YouTube right now and look up Middle Eastern fragrances, you'll see what I'm talking about. Because most people outside of the Middle East believe that Middle Eastern fragrances are these clone fragrances that are around, right? You
Mm.
clone a Western fragrance, right? And people think that's what all Middle Eastern fragrances are about. And when I speak to perfumers and owners and marketers in the Middle East about this, man, I can see it irks them like, oh my God, that's what people really believe. And I say, okay, let's go on YouTube and Google this and look around. And sure enough, man, oh, the 10 most cheapest Middle East fragrance for your bucks. That's not Middle East fragrance, man. Middle East fragrance is going on for thousands of years. They're different techniques in distillation. They're handed down from some families. A lot of these companies are like family businesses, man, and grandfathers, they hand down the distillation techniques, the mixing techniques. They keep it in the home, they keep it in the company, right? That's Middle East fragrance, right? And a lot of people think that, the Baccarat Rouge clown, this is what Middle East fragrance is about. That's not Middle East fragrance. Middle East fragrance is based on tradition. It is based on the religion. It's based on, having a strong longevity, well blended. For example, you will hear, okay, a Middle East fragrance have civet or it got oud. The first thing somebody said, start screaming, oh no, that's gonna smell terrible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if it's well blended, you would even notice that it's in there. I'm sure you guys have smelled some fragrance from over here that have those notes in it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, where is it? You can't even pick it out. But the clone fragrance, that's one of my biggest pet peeve. A lot of people believe that the misconception, that that's all Middle East fragrances are about. No, it's not. There's a wide range of fragrance houses putting out nothing but luxurious perfumes out here, man. And a lot of folks, they think that oud is the predominant base and every Middle East fragrance is just smell of oud. Myself included. I used to think that too. I used to believe that all Middle East fragrance, all it has was this stank oud in it. And for years, I've been here since 2003. For years, I used to go to the expo. I used to take my wife to the expo, drop her off at the expo, and sit outside waiting for her for years, man. Until one day she said to me, "Hey, I know you don't like oud. I'm going to introduce you to oud." I'm like, "Man, oud, it don't smell good." And this is something I always say. The person who always say I don't like oud, I've never really smelled real oud before, myself included. I was like that. I never really smelled real oud, but I just have this misconception that oud was stank. My wife
I
took
think
me.
we all been there.
Yeah.
We all been there.
My wife took me around to some houses that day, man. She was like, okay, just be open-minded and smell this. And one of the first fragrance I ever smelled was from the house of Ataya Balshek. And I got it right here. I keep a bottle of this with me at all times. And it's Remember Me in the blue bottle because they have it in different. And this fragrance right here, it's a summer freshie. Not a misconception that all Middle East fragrances are stank with oud. This is a fresh fragrance, a blue fragrance from the Middle East. This was the first fragrance I smelled when my wife said, just smell this. It got oud in it, and I was blown away. I still keep the bottle till this day. All right. And, it's those misconceptions that a lot of Middle East houses would like to branch out to come into like the United States, but they're saying that, in the US, they just like blue fragrances. They don't like oud. So they don't even worry the market because they do well within the Middle East and London. London is one of the main areas outside of the Middle East where they market their products.
Well,
Well,
let me ask you two questions, Mondell. The first question is is not really a serious question, but did you know your wife was setting you up when she first started doing that? Now look at you.
Look at it.
And the serious question that I have is that Middle Eastern, while you say that they're not new, within the last 20, 30 years, they've become more popular. And I've seen more Middle Eastern fragrance houses pop up. Not necessarily pop up, they pop up from a standpoint to where they're being recognized all over the world. So my question is, um, what I found in the past, these frag companies would emulate the Western fragrances. Now I'm finding that the Western fragrances are trying to mark themselves toward the Middle Eastern fragrances because and become more popular. So I think that the role has changed from what I'm seeing because now you take every frag house, everybody's got an oud based fragrance,
Right,
usually
right.
some type of oud. So what brought about that shift? Do you think?
I think it's the success of the Middle East markets. I mean, they're very successful over here. I mean, they make money over here doing what they do best. I mean, look at Arabian Oud. Arabian Oud has this where they'll have a product that does well, and then they'll just take it off the market. I mean, come on, man. Like a seal, the original seal. There's nothing wrong with the original seal, but the seal special edition is what they're pushing now. They'll just have a good product and take it off the market because they can do that. All right. There's an allure with the Middle East fragrance where they're doing great, and a lot of Western fragrance houses are now popping up, including oud. Mind you, some of them are using synthetic oud. They're not using what in the Middle East. In the Middle East, they use natural products, right? Natural products. They're not subjected to the the perfume police, I call it, right? Where they'll regulate what they use, or the big marketing companies that want to cut back on and notes, natural notes, because they want to use cheap synthetic. No, they're not regulated by that. So they use the natural stuff, and they're emulating them these days.
And now let me ask you another question. And looking at what some of these Western fragrances cost versus what some of the Middle Eastern fragrances cost, and what the Middle Eastern concentrate levels, the quality of product that they put in their quality of materials they put in their product. How are the Middle Eastern fragrance houses able to make the products that they make with the quality that they have for the amount that they only charge?
Right, right. That's a good question. They don't have that marketing, that big marketing back office. They do everything mostly like in-house by themselves. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're able to keep their prices down. When I speak to these guys, they don't have the overheads that they will have in the States, where everybody's getting a cut of something. These mostly niche independent houses that push stuff out, that don't have those conglomerate that takes a big percentage off the top. You know, those are some of the reasons why they're able to keep their prices down. And funny enough, there's a lot of Middle Eastern fragrances that are made in Europe. I would say probably 45% of them are
Really?
made in Europe. They're made close to the raw materials, you know, but yet still they're able to keep the prices down.
In
Now, are there
follow up to
any? Go ahead, Eric. I'll bring
in,
mine after you.
in follow up to G-Man's question, what makes Spirit of Dubai the exception? Because when you talk about cost and affordability, they are way above everybody else. So what makes it? What is it about them that makes them so much expensive?
I say watch the fragrance houses that only make 50 ml. Those guys tend to be high for some reason that I'm still trying to find out. You know, there are some houses. Dar El Tib is one of them. Hind Al Oud is one of them. Spirit of Dubai is another one. Those houses that make predominantly 50 ml, probably 80 ml. They're not in the 100 ml bracket, but the rarity of the fragrances, of the notes they use, the raw materials they use, I think that's why these guys are probably more expensive than the others.
Now, have you tried the Spirit of Dubois? Any of those?
Yes.
What's your take on those?
Oh man, those guys, and I will tell you this: they're built for a specific market because they're not built for everybody, right? And like Tura was one of them. I tried it, and I tried a few more.
Did you like that one?
Yeah, I do. I do like them. Those are the kind of fragrance we gravitate up towards over this side. You know, they're strong. They stay forever. They don't wash off from you. You know.
Well,
Presentation too, man.
go ahead, Rock. I know you pretty because I ain't want to hog them up. I only have one more question, but go ahead, Rock.
Okay, so we talked about Darab. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Darab tea. We talked about Arabian Oud. We talked about Zar. We talked about the Spirit of Dubai. Now, when it comes to the popularity here over in the States, when folks are like you touched on it earlier, when folks are like most of reviewers, when they're talking about Middle Eastern fragrance, they tend to gravitate to the lesser known brands like Latifa. And I'm not sure which one makes Hawass. Is that Latifa as well?
Uh, no, that's Rasasi.
Yeah, they tend to gravitate to those type of brands, Rasasi and Latifa, the lesser known and ones that do make the clone type of houses. Do you feel like they're cheating Fragcom in that sense, or is Fragcom missing an opportunity because we don't hear that much about the more unique, the more like the ones that you familiarized us with?
Right. So I usually say if you can get the Middle East fragrance from off Amazon, that's not going to be the Middle East fragrance that people in the Middle East will gravitate towards. Right. The Middle East fragrances house that I spoke of, they have their specific markets that they market to. Those houses that you just mentioned are predominantly making clown fragrances. They clown Western fragrances, and what they do, they put the Middle East spill on it. And the Middle East spill I talk about is that longevity, right? They include the patchouli, they include the oud, they include different stuff that will make the fragrance last better and more stronger. And then they flip it and send it back onto the Western market. Over here, for example, I'll watch YouTube and they'll be spraying a Latifa or spraying a Rasasi, and they will say, for example, oh, you'll smell like a Middle East princess, something. A Middle East princess will never ever wear any brands like that, right?
Mondell, be nice, man. Be nice.
Right? But I'm just trying to be frank about how it's viewed over this side of the world, right? On YouTube. On YouTube, that's all they talk about. The clown houses. They're not familiar. Ask one of them about Dar LT. They'll never know. They don't know that it exists. That's the problem. And when I talk to the Middle East fragrance brand, why don't you advertise? Why don't you market in the States so people know about you guys? They were like, that's not our market. And why it's not their market? It's because they said in the States, blue fragrance is what's more popular. Blue fragrance is what sell. For example, you're a Sauvage market, you're a Blue de Chanel market, and that's why those fragrances in the States, they are top sellers every year for a reason, because predominantly that's what the market gravitate towards in the States.
What about
the marketers? That's not.
What about Amarage? How is that viewed as far as a Middle Eastern fragrance?
Amouage?
Yeah.
Amouage is a bedrock of Middle East fragrance. You know, they're from Oman. You can, if you come over this side, we'll take you to the Amouage Museum, and you'll see how they make the fragrances and so forth. Amouage is a stalwart in the Middle East. I mean, they're here from Oman, the Sultanate of Oman.
And I think on that particular brand, I don't think a lot of people know that that's actually a Middle Eastern fragrance house.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? They're well marketed in the States. Amouage is well marketed in the States, and people will probably think they're a European brand.
Yeah, they're my second favorite fragrance house. So yeah. I have like 5 or 6 of their fragrances, and I actually love them. Even the ones that are challenging to other people. Like you saw the other day, I wore Overture, and I
Oh,
dig
for sure.
Overture, right? So, right.
You
Well,
will be a standout in the States wearing Overture, because Overture is not for the American nose.
No, it's
So you
not.
guys are special.
But you know what? I got compliments wearing it though too. I got compliments. My coworkers
Because
was
it's
like, "Yeah, that actually smells pretty good," and I was like, "What?" I wasn't even
yeah,
expecting it.
yeah, because it's different.
Right.
And never gonna smell anything like that. You'll be the best smelling man out there where you at.
Mhm.
so
You
Mondale, you go. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rock. Go ahead, Rock.
No, I was done. Go ahead.
oh,
Mondale, you just came from the expo. Talk to us a little bit about the expo and what's coming out.
Oh man, the expo. You know I live for that expo, right? The expo is twice a year, the
Mhm.
end of July, the end of June, and the end of October every year. And they've been doing that for years, right? Remember, I told you I used to go to the expos and take the wife and wait outside for hours while she come back with her bottles of wood and stuff. And a few years back, when I started getting into the ouds after the introduction, my baptism by fire into wood, I started going inside, and I was blown away, man. These days, I just live and I wait for the expo. I'm waiting for the next one in June. So this last one, why I like the expos is I really like independent houses, young perfumers, right? I like to go there and I meet these guys and pick their brains. I ask them questions: why you get into the business, what are you going to do, what's the future, and so forth. So it's a joy for me, because fragrance is way more for me than just smelling good, man. For fragrances, I it's more than a hobby for me. I'm into this thing, so I like to meet those guys. I like to meet the marketers and ask them questions like that, like, "Hey, man, why you don't market in the States so people know about you?" Right? And
Now, don't be stingy now, Mondale. What about them new releases, bro? You ain't got your
oh,
nose on some of them new releases.
there,
Let's talk about
there are
what
so
house
many.
got some nice joints coming out and what really caught your attention.
The expo is the place where a lot of new companies will showcase new stuff, right? And test the market. If it doesn't do well at the expo, they take it off the market, right? And a lot of companies too will say, okay, they'll come out with 5 different fragrances, and if it's not doing well, this is not their business, so they will back out, right? So it's a lot of testing ground at the expo, a lot of testing ground. But the upcoming startups, like I said, I like to talk to them. I like to talk to the young perfumers, the owners, the marketers, the back office people. And in fact, I did an interview at the expo. A couple of houses wanted to speak to me on different topics. How perfume in the U.S. Are they ready for the ouds as yet? Things like that. They'll ask me, and they're interested. But hopefully, one day they will start marketing for the States. These houses that we talk about, that's not in the States, because you guys really missing out, man. You're missing out on really good perfumes, man.
To
Man,
give
those dudes
everybody
like
kind of an idea that this is a huge event over in the Middle East, and I'm kind of just scrolling through a few pictures. And Mondell, if you do want to explain some of these, you can go right ahead. But this gives you an idea. Just look at the space. Just look at the how huge the event is, and it's a big deal out there.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, like I said, and then people will fly in from the different countries to come here, and also different fragrant houses from different areas in the Middle East will fly in to come here to display their wares. They will test the market, because Kuwait is a huge fragrance market. If you can make it here, you'll make it anywhere else. Ajmal, there's one of yours there, Leonard.
I was going to ask you about that. I was waiting.
So and that's just in Kuwait. There are even bigger expos. In fact, while we're having this one in Kuwait, there was even a bigger one in Dubai. There's one in Qatar. They're all over. They have it. I would love to go to the one in Dubai one of these years.
All right, Leonard, I can't get to the comments. Do anybody have any questions
Gia,
for
yeah,
our special guest?
Gia said to tell you hello, Mondell.
Oh, Gia's out there. Hey, Gia.
She's out there. And so, hello, Marquise. He's on the line. Gia asked a question, Mondell, for you. She said, what makes a fragrance a Middle Eastern fragrance? Is it the type of raw material used? Give us an explanation on what it is, that's how Middle Eastern fragrance is defined, and what makes it a Middle Eastern fragrance is, I think, the question she's asking.
Oriental Accords are normally Middle Eastern. I mean, it's the oud, the argwood, sandalwood, cedar. Those things are what makes a Middle East fragrance. And I would go back to what I said earlier, the distillation techniques used, I mean, the traditions used, those are entirely Middle Eastern, man. That's what makes a Middle Eastern fragrance. And the longevity, longevity, the sillage, those are what Middle Eastern fragrances are known for. And another thing that Middle Eastern fragrances that we haven't touched on yet is there's no gender in Middle Eastern fragrances, right?
Oh.
Most Middle Eastern fragrances can be worn by either men or women.
So they're gender neutral. Gender neutral.
Right.
And they don't get the label like the Western companies, feminine, masculine, or male or female.
No. Anybody can wear anything. It's just a preference of, hey, I don't like that, that's too strong, or so forth. But they're made for everybody.
Now, I'm gonna ask you this question, Mondell. You said earlier that the fragrances over there is a way of life. In the States, it would be on. Let me ask this way. Specific, and I've seen your kids' collection, your boys' collection. They're doing better than us sitting over, and we got jobs. so I ain't mad at them. They got some good stuff over there, man. I'm just not at that level yet, man. Your dog probably has a big fragrance. But my question is, Mondell, is there a particular age where people over there get introduced to fragrances? Is it when they're 5, 10, 20?
Very, very good question, because Thanksgiving, you guys have Thanksgiving, right? We have Thanksgiving and everybody gather around the house. Well, in the Middle East, like in Kuwait, every Thursday is just like that, where all the family from wherever you are, because they're very family oriented. So all the family will be at one particular house, go to the mother, father house. That's why the homes are huge, right? You'll be like, oh, just 2 people live there, but on the weekends, they're packed with people, right? People from they come with their kids and so forth. I say that to say, because when my house is packed on Fridays, right? This is a question I ask. And they're like, why age you guys get introduced? My wife, she at age 6 was going around to Vietnam, to India with her grandmother to pick out oud to bring back, right? They go for these ouds and bring back because they just love it so much. So at that age, at 6, my wife would say, look, these little kids know about ouds and know about perfume from their 5. So like she was, as straight as they came out, they know about fragrances. That's why the entire nation is up on their fragrance. And they hold the fragrance houses, to a high standard. So that means they can't come out with any crap and expect people to buy, all right? And I like that, because the entire population are fragheads. Then when you come with something, you better come good. And I tell you, if you see any fragrance that's dedicated to a country, I think any of you guys got that Qatar 2022, the one that's dedicated to Qatar?
No.
We probably will soon, though. We don't put it on the list. Put it on the list.
If you see a fragrance that is dedicated to a country or to a royal family or something, you best believe it's got to be good. Right? You best believe it's got to be good, because they know fragrances. And from a very, very early age, I would say 6, 7 years old, these kids are being introduced to fragrance it. And say for gifts, like gift, fragrance is a big thing. Is one of the top things that you'll give as gifts from kids on up. You'll be getting fragrances. You'll be introduced at a very, very early age. My boys, they up on fragrances from, not because we're all fragheads, but
y'all just don't tell it. Y'all all are frag heads, man.
They're all
You don't accidentally have that many fragrances if you're not a frag head.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, I want to ask a question that Gia is asking, and then I got two for myself.
Okay.
So she wants to know, tell us about the little known, at least in the USA, incense fragrances that your wife does.
Right.
And does it last all day?
Listen to this now. So we have here what's called Bahur. All right. Bahur is oud in its natural form. Remember, there are thousands of ouds. There are thousands of different smelling ouds. So these incense, I'll use the term incense, but they don't call it incense here. They call it Bahur. That is spelled Bukhoor. Bahur. All right. They'll burn it and it's smoky, and you'll put it on as a fragrance.
Wow.
All right. You'll wear it as a fragrance, especially like in formal occasion. You'll just put it on as a fragrance. That Bahur, wherever you go, it's burning. It's burning in the mosque. It's burning in the malls. At my gym, that's all I'm smelling. There's nice Bahur all over. It's therapeutic. It's have you relax, and it also have you smelling good. What it also does is enhance. You know, we use molecule 1 to enhance fragrance. This Bahur will, oh man, that will make your fragrances pop. No secret. you put that spray your fragrance on, then you put that smoke on. That lasts a week. Trust me. And I have some. Funny Jim mentioned it because I have some right here. If you could only smell this, and I'll show you, it's oud in its pure form.
Don't do that to me, man.
Oh wow!
Don't do that.
Oh wow! Go on and say it, Bernie.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. That's that dope.
Oh man,
that's that dope.
Now you burn this, and the smoke that comes from this, it gives that fragrance. Man, I tell you, I can't get enough of this, man. Now there are some guys who will bottle this smell, and you can use it to enhance. And I think I got one around here. Darrell Teague does that. Let me stand up just for a second so I can grab it.
Is that Warday? No.
Sheila from Darrell Teague.
Okay.
It's Bahur in a bottle.
Is what?
That's Bahur in a bottle. What I just show you, this is it in a liquid form. You put this on one of your Darrell Teague or any of your fragrance, that will pop. It won't come out of your clothes until maybe next month.
Say, Mondell, how many bedrooms in your house?
I got a few.
Wait a minute. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. Me and you the only cats on here married, man. You talking to single, man, they're gonna be splashing that stuff everywhere. They're gonna get fired from the job, and it's gonna be your fault, so they'll need a place to stay. They can't stay with me. So, Eric is already taking notes, and I see Bernie's eyes, man.
Man, when I
and they're thinking, how can they get that?
I'm like, I'm gonna hit them up after the show. Add that to the list.
Add it to the list. Add it to the list. Okay, Mondell, I also wanted to know, like, you live in Kuwait, right? And so it's pretty much warm most of the time there, right?
Right.
So is it a myth when we talk about seasonal frags in that case? Because you guys wearing a lot of stuff with heavy ouds in it, right? So is it pretty much a myth when we talk about seasonal frags, or because you guys are getting away with stuff that, you know, that we can't, that we're told that we're not supposed to wear in certain temperatures, right? And also because of religious beliefs, you have people that, you know, wear certain garb, and and they're extremely still heavy. So is that a myth, or are you guys just wearing what you want to wear?
We wear what we want to wear anytime. And the fragrances that you will term as winter fragrance does well here in the summer. If you notice my post, I haven't wear much Western fragrance in the summertime because they can't stand up. By the time I go outside, it will blow off. Why? Because our weather is hot. It's not humid hot. It's just hot like you're on this, you know, those machines that you put on. That's it. You're not sweating. It's just hot. And it's not 120, 130 like this every day in the summertime.
Yeah, it's a dry heat like we have in Texas.
Right, it's a dry heat. Yeah, that's the term I wanted. Yeah, it's a dry heat.
It's pretty dry here in Colorado as well.
When you wear those fragrance, it blends. It you know, you put it on, it blends in great with the skin and so forth. You're not sweaty, so it doesn't get clammy or anything. So it's just right. It's just right.
Well, I'll do this for you, Mondell. Any Western fragrances like Creed, you just can't wear. Clive Christian, like that 20th anniversary. You know, I'll take that off your hand. Just ship it to me. I'll send my address, man. I don't want you tortured like that.
It's not that I can't wear them. It's now that it's getting cooler. Now is the time I can wear them.
That's not the answer. That's not the answer I wanted, man.
Now I can wear them. Your summer fragrance is my winter fragrance.
Okay, and explain to people how can they legitimately get their hands on some of the stuff that they can't find on Amazon, which you stated is not true Arabian or Middle Eastern fragrance.
Well, short of contacting me,
we got the plug. We talk about those that don't got the plug.
I don't see these guys like selling stateside. I mean, with the currency differences and so forth, and the shipping issues and the language barrier, if you should have an issue, I don't see them selling much in the States at all. But if you need something like that, you talk to me. I'll get it for you.
Okay.
There you go.
We'll put his information in the bio.
Yeah. And if another thing, if y'all don't know how to reach Mondell, you can contact any of us or the Frag Illuminati, and we can give you a direct link to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I say the fragrances are all over, right? You got stuff like these, right? This Allure perfume, they have this is for the house. That's house fragrance.
What is that, Mondell?
This is for the house. That's fragrance for the house. It's fragrance for your clothing, right? Then you have stuff like this. This fragrance for your closet. This is fragrance for your car. You know, everything they got fragrance. If you got pets, they got fragrance for that, right? They make fragrance for everything. This is FN by FN. This is fragrance for your house, fragrance for your clothes. You know,
put that on the
laundry. Yeah. When you do your laundry, you spray. So all the fragrance houses, they make stuff for your homes. They make stuff for your closet. They make stuff for your towels when you wash them and so forth. And
here's the pretty reasonable.
Here's the Bahor like that.
Oh, okay.
Come on, my dad. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Come on. All right, now some
stuff like this. See, this is it right here. This pure form. Then you put it in this and burn, and oh man, this ain't coming out of it. This ain't gonna come out of this shirt till maybe next month. You don't have this in the States, especially going to weddings. This is like something that you must have at weddings. All weddings, and they will burn this, and this will be exceptional smell, and they'll just pass it around, and everybody will get it. Pass it around. You do like this. Enhance yourself and pass it around at weddings, man.
Yeah, this is one of the things I don't think that a lot of the listeners know that Lenny kind of put me on to when we was getting you set up for the show. What if people you found out that Mondell actually has his own fragrance that he has in the house? So talk to us about some of your fragrances over there, Mondell.
Now before he answers that, Mondell, you didn't say one of your fragrant ingredients was tonka bean, and I'm disappointed at that. I thought you liked tonka bean.
You know, I don't talk much about my fragrance because those are exclusive, just made just for me. And I made one for the wife. The wife is a heavy coffee drinker, and I made one that's a coffee flavored fragrance. And the, the the look she had on her face is priceless. If I could just have taken that photo, because when she smelled it, she was like, "Oh my God, I've never smelled anything like this before." And coming from her, that means a lot because she knows fragrances, right? And so, yeah, there's some fragrances that I make. There's one called Summer. There's another one called the Souk. There's one called the Garden. Because I'm also a traveler. I go around the world and travel. So I go into different souks around the world. I go into different gardens around the world, and then I try to come back and recreate those smells. And those are the four fragrances that I currently have.
Well, we got Dre on. We got a good connection with Dre. Hey, Dre.
Dre!
Got any questions?
No, I'm making an order right now.
Put it on the list. Put it on the list.
Yeah, go ahead. Add to the list. I need that raw ooze that you just showed. I need pretty much everything you just showed on screen. I don't have any questions at all. How fast can you get it to me? That's what I need.
Dre,
that's all I need.
Dre like a fragrance that I like. Dre, you remember this one?
What is that?
Oh yeah, Blue Kenon.
Blue Kenon.
That one.
Now,
this is the cheapest cap ever in life.
This is a one-note fragrance. This is just a Blue Kenon, which is a very rare wood. One-note fragrance.
Wow.
Wow. You don't have what you needed if you like oud. That one is straight fire. Like I said, the cap on that bottle sucks, but the juice in it is incredible.
Hey, Mondell.
You gotta have
a one-note fragrance.
Wow.
Mondell?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about these Middle Eastern fragrances, the presentations are all stellar all the time.
It's all about
all the time.
Presentation. All about presentation, man.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be. You see the boxes from Arabian Oud. When you get the boxes from Arabian Oud, you don't even want to throw those.
Oh yeah.
Well, Natasha said, Mondell, Natasha said you're just being stingy with your stuff.
Listen, for everybody who listens to the Frag Illuminati, I got an open door policy. You make it to Kuwait, oh man, I'll take you around and you get any fragrance you want.
Yeah, we're just having a problem making it to Kuwait.
Just make it to Dubai or Kuwait. I'll take care of you.
You know what I thought he was about to say? He's gonna put a little sample of his fragrance in our next order. That's what I thought he was
about to say. All right. I believe he said that.
Exactly what I heard.
All that. Y'all playing.
A tradition that we always do in the Frag Illuminati, we talk about the scent of the day. And today is a scent that Mondell sent me, which is Ageless Oud. A wonderful fragrance from FN by FN. It was one of the last orders I got from him. It has jute, saffron, blackberry, and rum. And of course, it has oud. Thank you so much for turning me on to this house and turning me on to this fragrance. It is mean. Nice longevity, good projection, sealage, the whole nine. Really, really enjoy it.
And with a name like Blooming Rose, you had no issues with that, did you?
Oh, come on now. Matter of fact, when we get off, I got to put in that order for my daughter. That Blooming Rose is sick. That Blooming Rose is sick.
I'm about to say, Mondell, I think I'm playing. I'm really going to put an order in for that oud.
So, earlier today, I went on
my next one. Blooming Rose will more than likely be my next one coming from over there.
Oh my God.
Okay. You're missing out. You're missing out.
I don't think Leonard has it either. Do you have it, Dre?
Well, the Blooming Rose?
Yeah.
No. What did I end up getting?
That's going to be my next one coming from over there.
I think I got Wall and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, that Blooming Rose is a marvelous fragrance, man. It's that rum. Oh,
yes.
Man, It makes a difference in that fragrance.
Do we have any more questions? I'm sorry. Do we have any more questions from the people who tuning in?
No, I think Gia just acknowledging she loved the blooming rose too.
And we like that necklace too, Bernie.
Say again.
Laquita said thanks for clarifying that there is no gender in fragrances over there.
None.
Yeah,
there's none.
She was going to ask that. Yeah, I'm not seeing any questions that we missed, but we still got Mondell, y'all. So if y'all got anything that y'all want to ask, feel free. Don't bite.
Right.
So Mondell,
go ahead.
How long have you been deeply into fragrances?
Oh man, I've been in fragrances since I was
from a
kid.
collecting standpoint. From a collection standpoint, yeah.
From a collection standpoint, I've probably been collecting for about 7 years now. 7 years.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So
I think.
So for like Bernie, how long have you been collecting?
I just came back last year.
And Leonard, how long you been collecting?
I've done more purchases within the last 2 years than I have overall, but I've always had a decent supply of fragrances.
Exactly right.
But not to the point to where I've gotten into it to explore it to the point where I am now.
And
so
Dre, how long you been collecting
fragrances?
You can cut them all the way off. 1.5. Seriously. Like I'm pretty much on the same with Leonard. I've always had fragrances, but seriously collecting probably about 1.5 years.
Okay, because he said he has like 600 fragrances, and I think between the 4 of us, we probably got 600. So yeah,
probably not.
Full of who?
The 4 of us.
I can tell you how many I got. I don't think we all have that many.
Nah, I think we can probably more in the 350 range.
Yeah, between me and you, Dre, we have 300 by ourselves, and then
but you know, Leonard ain't got number about 50.
Huh?
I'm at 70. I'm at 70.
You know, Leonard ain't got.
Leonard has about 70, right?
Yeah.
And how many you got, Bernie?
70.
You about 60.
Just got 70.
Well, dang, yeah. So we still ain't there yet, but
well, I probably won't be. No,
right.
I have a targeted range, and I'm about where I want to be. I have some good ones. No fluff, but I'm pretty close to where I want to be.
You're a smart man.
Yeah, you're not gonna draw me in and break me, Mondell.
You're a smart man. keep it that way.
600 fragrances.
I'm addicted.
Get through them and make sure that you touch each one. So that
oh man, there's some I don't even touch. My kids touch more than I do. Hey, about 2 hours ago, my youngest came to me and said, "Hey man, you ain't wearing this Dior Sauvage. I'm gonna take this. This is gone." So that was gone from the collection.
On them, on your boys, man. On your boys, do they wear a lot of Western fragrances versus the Middle East?
They're a mix. They're a mix. My youngest, he likes to, and this is, I see my dad in him. He likes formal. He likes to put suits on, and he likes formal smelling fragrances. You know, he'll go into the movies and be telling me, "Hey, I'm going to the movies with my friends, but I'm going to wear my suit." And then he'll wear, one of his favorite is tuxedo. He liked that tuxedo. He'll put his suit on and spray on his tuxedo, and he get out the house. And he's 12 years old.
Yeah, Laquita asked the question, how did you start collecting fragrances? Meaning get deep into it.
Oh, man. I wear many hats. I'm also a photographer, and that's another story for a different forum. And perfumery, right? So when I'm into something, I'm just in deep, right? And I've always been around fragrances since a kid. I used to watch my dad wearing fragrances, and when he's passing me, I rub his hand so I can get some of it off and so forth. But I've been collecting fragrances for a little while now.
Now, Star, I think may have joined the show late, but she wanted to know what was your number one fragrances. But we had already asked that question.
Yeah, I already asked that. But I can tell you what's my wife's number one fragrance. Right? This is her signature scent. And would you believe it's Baron by Doral T.
Oh, wow.
This Baron is her signature scent.
One.
Yeah, Mondell says she keeps a bottle in the car, in the purse,
all over.
Now, is that the Baron that started the frenzy?
No, not that Baron.
No.
Not that one. This is
that one.
The true Baron right here.
And Mondell, I want to say personally, man, we appreciate you for going out and looking for that, because it was one of those things that Mondell was given an insight that, man, if you don't have this in your collection, you don't have a fragrance. So Mondell, we automatically jumped all over it. And so Mondell said, well, okay, let me investigate. He went middle of the night trying to track it down, and it was disappointment, man.
So disappointed.
I got one.
That guy, every time, that guy works at the embassy, the U.S. Embassy. Every time I go, and I go most Thursdays, I can't find the guy again. Ever since that day, I came back and report to the guy. I said, man, this is trash, man. Yeah, I know something. Every time I go there, they told me it's there, but I've never seen the guy since.
Mondell?
I think he's mad at me or something.
Go ahead, Dre.
I got one question. For Rock's favorite fragrance.
Oh, God.
This week?
Tiger.
No. You already know. Tiger. Come on, man.
You love some Tiger, man.
You love the Tiger. Would that be considered the best fragrance in the Middle East? Of course, you know I'm not serious, but I had to throw that in there because I know Rock loves it.
Dre just wanted to let y'all know he was thinking about me, y'all. That's all that was.
When you got the man in here, you got to ask about the Tiger, the infamous Tiger.
By the way, Tiger is a phenomenal fragrance. I actually love it. But I still feel like it smells exactly like Satani. And that was never, and it was when what we're talking about is when we first started getting into this, and I received my first fragrance from Mondell. It was Czar Tiger. And when I received it, it smelled exactly like Satani, which is not a bad thing because fragrances tend to smell like each other. Right. And so, but it did, because we hadn't smelled it before, but it started like a little much too much frenzy around here. But it's fresher than Satani. I actually like it better than Satani now. But I wish they didn't change the presentation, right? And so change the presentation, but it's an excellent fragrance. I like it.
Well, I told you why they changed the presentation. It was during the COVID when the supply chains got jacked up, and they had to change from a different manufacturer, a supplier, and that's what happened. The presentation got changed.
Well, Mondell, we got an hour of your time. I really appreciate it.
I mean, if you guys got questions or anything, I'm here.
Hey, let me ask you this, Mondell. I hit you up about a house called Tomavici.
Right.
It said it's made in the UAE, and that's how it's not. And I was looking at it because I was like, okay, Tomavici made in UAE. I said, let me hit my man Mondell up and see what's up with that, man. And Mondell, what'd you tell me on that? That's the answer.
Is that the one he said is garbage?
No. I was asking if represented as being made in the UAE. So I asked him about it, knowing that he would know the Middle Eastern fragrance houses. So tell him what you said, Mondell.
Yeah, I couldn't find it over here. I think they're made in the UAE. They said they're made in the UAE, but I think they're made stateside or something, man.
Yeah, they may do that. It's a new company, and they advertise it made UAE. But I'm like, if Mondell don't know who they are, then maybe they're just buying the name from them and putting it somewhere else. Maybe in, I don't know, France or something. I don't know.
Hey, marketing works. As we said earlier, yeah, a lot of Western houses are emulating Middle Eastern houses for,
They are.
Just to let
Hey,
everybody know how special this is, can you let everybody know what time it is there?
Oh, it's I got, where is Antoine? Is not online. So for me it's 2200. For Antoine being Air Force, it's 10 p.m.
Right. Okay. Well,
It's 11
I'm
o'clock.
Army, so I know what 2200 is, but you're right. But it's 10 p.m. there, and it's just a little bit past 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here,
Oh man.
and I'm in Denver, which it means it's noon here, and so we just want everybody to know how fortunate we are that he took this time late and on his evening to come be on the show, and we really appreciate that. Yeah,
It's a pleasure to be with you guys, man. When we talk about Middle Eastern fragrances, man, everybody's fragrance world is subjective. I mean, everybody got their own preferences. I had a little pet peeve about the clown fragrances and so forth, but when it comes to it, at the end of the day, man, this fragrance business is for everybody, man. Everybody, you get in where you fit in. You know what I mean? You get in where you fit in. I mean, the most expensive fragrance is not really the fragrance, right? I mean, I got some fragrance here that smell really good, and some of them are reasonable priced, and I got some big price fragrances
don't pull those out because Ray gonna want them, man. Don't pull them out.
Don't even smell good, right? So
I'm
like I
already
said,
there. I'm already there. It's okay. I'm there.
it's very subjective, man. There's no license on the notes, so you like what you like, man, and love what you love, man. That's all it is, man. We all here in the fragrance game, man. Just love what you love, man. As long as it smells good and it's for you, get on it, man. Get on it and use it, man.
Can I do this? Can I acknowledge I like to say I appreciate and I think I'm speaking for everybody and they'll agree with me with Frag Illuminati. We appreciate having the opportunity for you to be accessible to us, whether it's Middle Eastern, whether it's European fragrances or whatever fragrance house it may be, a particular fragrance. You're a valuable resource to us because we're in this thing together and we're learning, and that's part of the process. So having a resource like you that's always readily available, and you don't charge us for any kind of advice or anything that you may, research for us, that's a valuable asset to the Frag Illuminati. And so we truly appreciate that. Now, in saying that, I've got a question for you following that. If you're a football fan, are you more prone to be with the Cowboys or Detroit Lions?
Oh, he done messed the whole show up.
We all know that Mondell is an undercover. He don't even have to be a football fan. He's a Detroiter, true and true.
No, he lived in.
My residence is Texas, man. Look, my residence is Texas. I got the Texas driver's license.
Oh man, I was about to get you some buffs. I was about to buy you some buffs, but
man.
Hey man, he'll wave his flag, Mondell. He wave his flag. Watch him. He'll wave that Detroit flag.
Oh man,
I was just about to buy you some buffs.
Lord.
Had the nerve to say Packers, man. Gia, come on now. But Mondell, sincerely, man, we really appreciate you, man, more than you can know. And I just want to acknowledge that so you'll know how we feel about you and how much we appreciate you. Now, you pretty much broke Eric and Bernie, and Andre's on the way to being broke, fooling with you. But they got some good stuff out of it, so I can't.
Right. I think Dre from the Middle East, man, because these guys over here, they don't have any limits, man. They got a bottomless pocket, man. I think Dre from the Middle East, man. He is Sheikh Dre.
He's coming
calling
back.
himself King
He
Dre.
thought of some more stuff to have added to the list. I'm pretty
To
sure.
the list.
Mhm.
He don't have a list. He's got a scroll.
So, Lenny, what's going to be the topic next week, sir, while we got everyone here?
We're not going to do one next week. We're going to do one for the Thanksgiving holiday, just do an acknowledgement. And then after that, the 1st of December, we'll start back on track.
Mr. Mondell, my brother. Love you so
man.
much. I always appreciate you. Thank you for being available. This is one hell of a show. Thank you for breaking bread with the fellas this evening, man.
Man, my fellows, man, if I could just get you guys here over here in the Middle East, man, I would repay you all tenfold, man. It's a pleasure for me to just be here with you guys, man. I'm blessed being amongst your presence, man. Thank you all for having me.
I also want to thank the listeners that.
Yeah.
I also want to thank our people that tuned in, that adjusted their schedule in order to be here for us. In order to be here for us and at our special time, y'all followed us and we appreciate that. So we appreciate that support as well. And don't forget, if you haven't already, like, subscribe, follow, and share this episode. Let's grow this channel.
Hey, one thing, Mondell, I want you to promise, man, this won't be the last show or your last event with us. So make sure you can promise us that. As
we say over here, man, inshallah, meaning God willing.
Okay. Now, this I'm gonna be the first group to ask this. How do we go about getting an autograph, man?
Oh,
He didn't answer the question.
Oh man, you get an autograph on your next purchase.
So for the Frag Mondell Salmon, we're going to end this episode of the Frag Illuminati. God bless. Please hit like and subscribe and notification. Mr. Mondell, thank you so much for taking time out with your family to break bread with the brothers and all of the followers of the show.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
you, fellas.
You guys doing a great job in the community.
Everybody, and we'll see you in 2 more weeks. Stay safe and stay blessed.
We the Illuminati, y'all.